Can we just stop for a minute and pause and let me ask a question? What do we think this Christianity thing is really all about? Why do we do it? Why the routine? Why week in and week out we gather on Sunday mornings in seats like this? Why sing songs out of books that are printed with centuries-old words? Why do we do it? I have a sneaking suspicion that sometimes the temptation for us is to do this thing, this church thing, just because it's routine, because it's familiar, because it's what we know. And I think sometimes we like to imagine that God's job is just to keep and preserve the routines in our lives, that we know how things work in our lives, right? You go to school or work, you come home, you make dinner, you wash dishes, you go to sleep, you do it all over again. You want things to stay nice and steady and stable. And I think sometimes we imagine that God's job is just to be the guarantor, to make sure that things stay as they always have been. And I guess I think the more I actually listen to the stories of Jesus, the more I actually read the stories in the scriptures, the more I discover Jesus isn't interested in just blessing the familiar or preserving our routines. Jesus is constantly leading his followers in new directions in all sorts of ways. Sometimes it's to new ways of living out their faith. Sometimes it's literally to go into new directions, to go to meet people they have never met, to cross borders and boundaries, to meet with outsiders, outcasts, foreigners, and strangers. Sometimes it's to do new things. Sometimes it means re-envisioning what they thought they knew about how God worked in the world. In other words, Jesus isn't about keeping us nice, comfortably centered where we never leave the little perimeter of our ordinary routines. Jesus is always about leading us out to the edges, to the margins, to the people who often get forgotten, but also to something new that feels more like an adventure and less like a routine. That's why this coming year, as a new church year begins this Sunday with the beginning of Advent, we're inviting you to be a part of something new here at Community of Christ, a new year-long focus that we're calling Life on the Edge, Christianity beyond our comfort zones. And throughout this whole year, especially as we're centered in our worship life on the gospel according to Luke, we're going to be seeing how Jesus, the more we actually listen to him, doesn't just sort of pat us on the head and say, stay where you are, but Jesus leads us to follow him and to go in new directions, to be among new people, new experiences, to see faith as more of a living and daring adventure rather than the staid, the familiar, the we've all been there before, let's just read the words we've all memorized. That's going to be a challenge for us because we are creatures of routine. Even we who are familiar with reading the same words out of a hymnal week in and week out are challenged by Jesus to go out with him onto the edge. So we invite you in the course of this year to take a look at how life on the edge, faith that goes beyond our comfort zones, teaches us how to hope again as more than just wishful thinking here in this Advent season. We'll see in the Christmas season about how God comes and meets us at the meeting place at the edge of heaven and earth. We'll see as we explore Jesus' journey to the cross, how Jesus leads us out beyond our comfort zones, and how the cross and the resurrection are about the meeting place of life and death and the breaking in of new creation. All that is in store in this year ahead, and we invite you to be a part of it. That's going to show up in Sunday morning worship. It'll be part of our regular adult faith formation and other education opportunities. It'll be part of spiritual resources we offer throughout the year, written devotions and other kinds of resources, all of it meant to shake us up out of the familiar. Even if Jesus just leaves us right in our own neighborhoods, that we go back into our neighborhoods and our lives as changed people, as transformed people. So join us this year, starting this coming Sunday, December 1st, as we begin the Advent journey into hope, on to the edge of hope. And as Jesus leads us into a new kind of life, life on the edge, that takes us beyond our comfort zones into new places, to meet new people, to meet God in new and unexpected ways. We hope you'll be a part of that adventure with us starting this Sunday. See you along the way.